That was Paddy Hannon on this day back in 1893 when he rode his horse Jimbo, probably not his real horse's name, into Coolgardie, staking the claim that he'd found gold at the base of Mount Charlotte. That was 132 years ago today, and I tell you what, he's still looking pretty good, isn't he? This, of course, is Paddy's statue that's here inside the Kalgoorlie Town Hall. The replica is out the front, so if you want to come along at least this week and give Paddy a little rub, he might tell you where there's a few nuggets buried within the Golden Mile still, or around this particular parts. But I have gone through, I've dug deep into this week's council agenda to bring you some of the items that we have covered off for you. Now, I normally get a time frame. There's been a lot on this particular agenda, so I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as possible. But before we get into our proper agenda, there was one item that council considered that was late into our agenda, and that is to explore future water assets for the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. As you know, water is a big topic for the city, and in particular our wastewater, and making sure that it's the most efficient that it can be, and that we're doing our part to make sure that we're a sustainable city. We're starting now a due diligence program to work with Water Corp to look at the potential acquisition of Reservoir 3 of the Water Corp's assets. Now, this particular reservoir is just behind Shepparton Oval on Piccadilly Street. Council will now work with the Water Corp to look at how we can potentially take that on board and add that to our storage of wastewater here in the city. Of course, we use our wastewater for many of our parks, our ovals and those playgrounds across the city. And with the upgrades that are coming with the pipeline announced last week, it seems like it's a great opportunity for us to make the most of seeing what assets the Water Corp are looking to make redundant and to incorporate them into the city's wastewater program. So back to the main agenda for you, and our first item was under the Audit and Risk Committee, and that was for the independent presiding member, an update to the terms of reference, and also a committee name change to Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee. This is in line with the state government legislation, and for all audit and risk and improvement committees across the state, they will require an independent chair moving forward, and preferably an independent deputy as well. So we're meeting that particular standard as of right now, and also ahead of the deadline of the 1st of July. Also, as part of our Audit, Risk and now Improvement Committee was some statistics on our pool inspections. Now, you may have a pool at home. You may have been part of the 600 odd pool barriers that we inspected across the course of this financial year. Where issues were found, improvement notices have gone out and re-inspections are underway. However, there are still 55 overdue pools within our city that we're now prioritising. Pool inspections need to be done every 4 years. Of the pools that we've inspected, of those over 600 odd inspections, 114 were found to be non-compliant, and follow-up inspections are scheduled with those properties to meet safety standards. Also, while we take this particular point seriously to prevent drownings in our community, we've got a dedicated pool inspector who's out there at the moment. We're recruiting for one. As part of recruiting, we've found things a little bit challenging in that space. So what we've done in the interim is engage with Royal Lifesaving Club to work with our team on inspections and also to raise community awareness. So potentially you may have a City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder staff member or a Royal Lifesaving Club staff member come to your particular property to look at those inspections and have them completed. Our schedule of fees and charges has started to be advertised, or is pending advertising in the next 24 to 48 hours via yoursay.ckb.wa.gov.au. We have looked at an increase of 3.3% to our fees and charges. This is in line with the local government cost index of the same, which is 3.3%. And look, we know that families are struggling out there at the moment. We know that the cost of living is having a big impact, and our staff have taken that on board to look at all of our fees and charges. There are some changes to some charges. However, there are others that may affect families from time to time that we've really looked at, trying to reduce as much as possible. Our Youth Council terms of reference and a member appointment has taken place. Council formally endorsing the City's Youth Council, a fantastic group of young people. They're ready to represent and to advocate for our city. They've got some wonderful ideas and some great energy, which is wonderful. Councillors Winner and Brownlee will continue to be role models for these particular members of our working group now, and they'll continue in those particular roles. And Youth Council gives a great opportunity to contribute back into our community. Further to that, our CBD and Precinct Activation Working Group and the terms of reference have been endorsed last night for Council. This is planning the future use of not only our CBDs, but also all parts of our city as well, from the commercial and also from the industrial side of things, through to obviously our main CBDs, Hannon Street, Burt Street, and other commercial precincts such as those around O'Connor Street in Somerville and also around Hannon's as well. The working group will be made up of local stakeholders and also with an independent chair to take away any conflicts of interest, but also to ensure that we can get some good results for our community at the same time. We've got over 29 different ways that the city supports community groups, organisations and not-for-profits, and we're refining that with our community support policy. This was endorsed last night by Council. Makes it very confusing if you're trying to deal with Council and trying to understand the best ways to receive those fee waivers, a grant or other sponsorship as well. So we'll work now on this particular policy and endorse this policy through Council and through our organisation to be able to make it easier for community groups to get that support from Council. And that's to the tune of somewhat $4 million this current financial year that we've contributed back to many organisations, whether that be through a grant, through a peppercorn lease, through a fee waiver and other various different ways. Our strategic community plan is now out for public comment. We had over 800 people talk to us face-to-face about this particular plan and what they see for the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. That's combined with 1,700 odd submissions through our survey. So we've received a stack of support from the community to tell us what we're doing right, what we need to improve on, and what your vision is of the city moving forward. This particular plan is a very strong guiding document for the city. It's probably our biggest plan and our biggest way in which we've engaged with the community ever. This will now be a document that Council uses for all decision making, and therefore all of the plans that come under that, from our long-term financial plan, from our corporate business plan, from our annual plan, they all fold out of that as well. So you have the ability to comment on that right now, and that's available for you as well through the usual channels. We really appreciate those who've taken the opportunity to provide feedback. Yes, we know that there's a lot of improvement that can happen within the city. We also are doing our very best to work on that as we continue through. And now that we've got that feedback from you from being on the ground through the surveys and also through those face-to-face comments, we will be looking to move on that into the future. And we can tell you that community safety and crime prevention is still the #1 issue our community is facing, and we'll continue to work on advocating for better resources in that for our city. Further to that, we'll also look at the opportunity for commercial leases to go back into the CBD, Kalgoorlie Tours and Charters, Hannon Street Bakery and Gales for Males, all long-standing local businesses in the endowment block. We had their leases renewed. Council's also rejected a new leasing delegation which would have allowed the CEO to approve certain lease renewals, which means that Council sentiment at the moment means that this decision making should still come through the usual processes, which means it'll go through a Council meeting and Council will be much more informed, or continue to be informed as per the previous way. We've awarded a lease to 13 Robert Street for an adult daycare centre. The termination of the lease with the Mana Living has now continued into Respect Group, and that is a formality now that we've had a change of provider in that particular space. So Council endorsed that last night. There's also been a request for reciprocal rights or reciprocal agreement with the Hartfield Country Club in Forestfield in Perth. Many of our golfers who have been here in Kalgoorlie-Boulder have made the journey down to Perth, and they're members with Hartfield. They'll now receive reciprocal rights with the Goldfields Golf Club. We have many reciprocal rights agreements already with many other clubs, so this just further allows visiting players to come to our wonderful golf course to play golf, but also get some great benefits as well. And likewise, we'll also get those benefits when we go to the Hartfield Country Club as well. Now, Council also endorsed a new artificial intelligence policy, ChatGPT. I got it right this week. With the power of artificial intelligence now, and with our policy in place, let's see if we can do this. Our artificial intelligence policy will be a policy that guides staff. It won't be part of decision making, but allows us to use technology within our organisation to be able to give you further information, and also take a whole stack of that other information that's available out there, collate it for us with the best technology that is available. There's still obviously principles around policy, accountability and transparency, but also using that opportunity to use AI to improve efficiency and also deliver better value for our community. We received only one submission for some extruding curbing works here in the city. We've decided to re-advertise to that to seek a more competitive pricing and ensure value for ratepayers from that. You would have noticed the big capital works program that's happened over the last 12 months within the city. Well, we're making sure that our ratepayers are getting value for money from those contracts that are in place and those tenders that are out. So Council will re-advertise for that. We'll also, we have awarded the contract for 3 6-metre cube road sweepers. You would have seen our road sweepers are doing an enormous job across the city. They're up from early in the morning until into the afternoon, ensuring that our streets are being kept nice and clean. With having 3 new road sweepers on board, we're obviously giving our operators the best comfortable position that they can do while they're around the city in the safest position, but also ensuring that we're using those particular sweepers on a continual basis within the city. We're going to look at a piece of land that's right next to the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. That's at 2 Fabric Street. This is Crown land and it sits next to the city's admin building. It's been sitting unused for some time. There is the capacity for 55 homes to go onto this particular piece of land. So Council will now be recognising the opportunity to unlock that underutilised land and working with the Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage about that potential transfer from state government to local government so we can take action and get housing here in our city. Alongside that, one of the most important things that we do all year is to give organisations some funding through our annual grants program. Last night, Council endorsed an allocation of $644,104.40 for our 25-26 annual grant program. Now, this includes an increase of $44,000 above what we've already budgeted, but it also includes $213,464 of previously committed funds. So from that $644,104.40, we have to take away what we've already got in place, and we've also continued to support organisations under a transitional operational funding model for the Eastern Goldfields Historical Society and Art Gold, two great organisations here in our community. We've committed $134,306.40 to resurfacing works at the Kalgoorlie Bowling Club. Further to that, a rock revival program for the West Australian Police and Community Youth Centre, and the Rotary Club of Kalgoorlie will receive enhancement to the Rotary Markets entertainment to the tune of $5,000 and $5,700 for Goldfields Pride for community events and educational resources. Further to that, we had over $1.4 million that was being asked for from the community. We'd love to fund it all. Unfortunately, we're not in the position to be able to do so. For those grant applications that weren't successful, we'll now have our CEO and staff work with those organisations on other funding opportunities that exist within the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder and to help them deliver for their particular projects as well moving forward. It was a big wrap up. I get that, I understand that. I hope you found some nuggets in there. You can peruse the minutes. I like that word, peruse. It's so official, isn't it, as part of the council meeting. How about you look at the minutes? That's a little bit easier. They're online at ckb.wa.gov.au through our council page, so you can have a look at all of the decisions that council have made. Our next meeting will come up in July, and at that particular meeting, council will be considering the budget for 2025-26 moving forward. There's a few things out there for public consult this week to get yourself along to. I look forward to meeting with our school leaders tomorrow here at the Kalgoorlie Town Hall to engage with our up-and-coming leaders here in our community. Oh, and I forgot, don't forget, you can score yourself a hole-in-one with Pixar Putt coming to Kalgoorlie-Boulder. Get your tickets. I'm so looking forward to this. Done it before, it's been in the metro area, but this is your council delivering great events here into our community. There's adults only sessions, but there's also great opportunities for our kids as we head into the school holidays coming up for July. So make sure you get your tickets, reserve your spot. Pixar Putt will be at the Goldfields Oasis.